more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
And when you look at the crisis today, it's related to that. And nobody will make that connection. No media, nowhere do I see that connection. Another point, when you ask Americans about this period, they say it was worthwhile. It was worth it because we won the Cold War. That's a fabrication. That's an delusional thinking. We lost the Cold War. We lost it so badly. The Russians lost it worse, but we lost it. Look, the cost of the Cold War was more than $11 trillion. $11 trillion if you take it out of an economy. That explains why our kids don't know how to read and write. That explains why our inner cities are in crisis. The Cold War also explains the imperial presidency. And the imperial presidency was an absolute exigent reason from the arms race, because you had to have a president makes immediate decisions, has power beyond belief, because you haven't got time to consult.
When the Soviet Union collapsed in the late 1980s, the massive military buildup in nuclear weaponry under President Ronald Reagan was widely credited as the leading cause for the collapse of the Soviet Union. How do you see that?
I see that as complete distortion of history. Complete distortion of history. The point is, I am not a politician, economist. I traveled to the Soviet Union about 30 times. In 1980, I was certain the Soviet Union is not going to last. I knew that because it wouldn't last in the form that it was. I didn't know what was going to happen.
That was the year Reagan was elected.
Yeah. And that began my journey to Moscow. I had at least 30 of them. And I began to see that because as a doctor, I go into a coronary care unit and I see equipment like monitoring, defibrillators, cardioverters, pacemakers, most of them dysfunctional. To take blood samples, they didn't have modern equipment. They didn't have vacutainers. They didn't have adequate syringes. They didn't have, in many of their hospitals, they didn't have water, hot water, cold water, flush toilets. They didn't have any of that. I began to see the breakdown, the fact of their society. Furthermore, young people in their society who had done any travel knew that they were falling behind, and were very restive. And I knew that in another generation it'll change. And it made no sense to have a Cold War that threatens human survival because the threat of communism, because I was sure that it wasn't going to last. So if I knew that, how come the brighter people who were making a life of analyzing the Soviet Union didn't understand that?
You're saying by the time Reagan entered office?
Oh, yeah. Brezhnev era was stagnant. Nothing was happening. Soviet society was moving. And a great deal of lying. Everybody was lying. Lying because they were too embarrassed to confront the truth.
You've quoted Albert Einstein as saying the unleashed power of the atom has changed everything save our modes of thinking. Do you feel we've made the conceptual leap since Einstein said that over half a century ago?
No. Because had we wouldn't face very these crises we are facing today. A crisis in terms of climate change that we haven't addressed. We haven't dealt with the nuclear issue.
Dr. Bernard Lown, author of Prescription for Survival, his efforts with American and Soviet physicians to prevent nuclear war earned the 1985 Nobel Prize for Peace.
The only way to have a world deserving of human beings is begin to utilize the enormous possibilities of science and technology to create an abundant life, which we can do readily. We can provide everybody with clean water. We can provide everybody with health care. We can provide everybody with a job. We can provide everybody with a productive, cultured life. Why don't we do that? Why? Isn't it time we ask that question?
You're listening to Humankind. I'm David Freudberg. Studio recording by Steve Colby. Editorial assistance from Thomas Roy. Webmaster Brian K. Johnson. Special thanks to Kathy Graham, Tony Buck, the Prelinger Archives, and Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Doubt, throw it in, I guess. Pickle.
Oh, hum. Oh, I forgot about my sausage, or my Polish sausage. It's already pre-cooked. And this will do. This will do. I got my lab work the other day. Cholesterol very high. And here I'm having scrambled eggs. Oh. Oh, olives too. Yeah. I should have. Those green onions, I should have. Yeah, I can eat it later. Okay, time for breakfast. Thanks for watching.